Yes.
Should we?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Meanwhile, delegates will join. Good evening and welcome everyone. I heartily welcome our today's learned speaker, CA M. Gopichand ji, on this very auspicious days going on. You know, friends, Diwali is upcoming, so we are all ready to greet Lakshmi ji. And one form of Lakshmi ji is income tax refund, which we are all looking forward with interest under 244A. So today's very interesting topic, income tax refund. And I must compliment Chairman Viraj Mehta and his team to select this very unique topic. Day to day, we are talking about refund adjustments, and so on and so forth. कि refund नहीं आता है and all those things. But hardly we have come across in recent time a pure lecture meeting purely on tax refunds. So I think today is the right time that we have uploaded our returns. People have started receiving refunds. And you know what is happening now in a family? Mr. X, the head of the family, is receiving the refund within 2 days. Y is receiving within 3 days. Z has not received for another maybe 10-15 days. He starts questioning us. Mera refund nahi aaya hai. What is wrong with it? Now, this is the scenario. So, expectations have gone up very high that my refund, I should get it within 2-3 days like others. And we have to say to the clients, okay, look, this is not in our hands, this is system based. Then there is another question which we are facing day to day is refund adjustment, intimation, adjustments again, outstanding demands. Give your reply. In spite that replies have been filed on year-to-year basis, still every year against the refund, we are facing the same queries. To resolve all these issues, we have today our learned speaker, Shri Gopichand ji, who will throw light on these issues. Over to Prasanna for further proceedings of introduction of Gopichand ji and looking forward for the great learning from Gopichand ji. Best wishes, happy learning to everyone.
Yeah. Thank you, one and all. It is my pleasure to introduce the speaker, Shri Gopichand, who is a fellow chartered accountant and a commerce graduate. He is a deputy group tax at Vedanta Group, who has nearly 20 years of experience in managing direct tax and indirect tax matter. His expertise includes navigating complex tax issues for diverse MNCs in areas such as corporate taxation, transfer pricing, international taxation, and indirect taxes. His focus areas is strategic tax planning and assist organization in optimal tax efficiency and ensuring full compliances with all regulations. He has a track record of effectively managing litigations, assessments from complex M&A activities, tax audit, investigation, appellate proceedings, and advocacy with regard to client interest and securing favorable outcomes. He is also a direct tax committee member of the chamber since 2022, and he has contributed to the publication Demystifying Section 194R. Thank you, Shri Gopichand, for joining this session and deliver. Happy to hear you. Over to you.
Thank you, Vijay. Thank you, Prasanna. Respected Chairman and other Direct Tax Committee members and my seniors and my fellow members, welcome all. This is a very practical session on the refunds we wanted to do in this session. Just give me a minute. Just broad agenda of this today's session. Going into the details, in this session, just I wanted to share my practical approach, how I approach various refunds, and what are the various options available to expedite the same. The statistics shows that the government is day by day improving its system, and the processing time is getting reduced. And currently, if you see that the refund is getting even within 1 day, also the receipt is getting there, the return is getting processed and refund is getting issued. This is the time when even Nirmala Sitharaman, our finance minister, also mentioned that they are improving the system and don't want to pinch any refund taxpayers for the waiting period of the refunds. This is the broad statistics what government has released, that up to 2023 how they are expediting and how they wanted to resolve non-issue of the refunds because of certain issues. They are not able to process the refund, how they are addressing it. That's what the statistical data. Legal prudence means basically what is the jurisprudence and what is the law on the refunds. Means everyone is aware of this. No tax shall be levied on or collected except by authority of law as per the Constitution. And if you see under the Income Tax Act, Chapter 19 deals with the income tax refunds and interest thereon. If you see Section 237 specific, refund means any tax paid by him or on his behalf in excess of the tax levy is chargeable to him is eligible for the refund. Since these are provisions, I am not going into detail, but I am more detail wherever it is required the approach. So the jurisprudence is very clear. The refund refund is not defined under the Income Tax Act. The refund is any excess tax payment one is eligible. Refund does not include only the tax payment; it includes other payments like interest and other levies, if anything included. So wherever there is no missionary provisions to issue the refund, you can under the writ option you can challenge and you can get the refund. Means, what is not tax that cannot be means kept with the government. Government need to pay that amount back to the concerned person.
Sir, what can you come little closer to the mic, sir, because people not able to hear you clearly. Or if it's fine, you can use a headset as well.
Yeah, I'm using.
Sure. Okay, sir. Thank
you. Means basically means wherever if it is not a tax or levy, government cannot keep this amount. That amount need to be refunded to the concerned person. And jurisprudence in case of a means assessing officer failed to process a return because of the technical issues or anything, assessing is eligible to interest up to the date of the issuing of the refund. Refund cannot be denied merely because of the department has not made any provision. This is the broad process, means how the refund situation arises in case of under the Income Tax Act. Refund can be generated under Section 143(1). Refund can be during the assessment stage, on the completion of the assessment, and whatever refunds computed or determined under 143(1) and 143(3) can be further subjected to 154 based on the rectification. And in case of any means assessment completed and there is any disturbances or anything, and we file an appeal and appeal gets determined in your favor, and during the appeal effect determination, a refund can be generated, either CAT appeal or AT or High Court or Supreme Court decision. If you go further detail into 143(1) process, means currently the 143(1) process happens at CPC. Unlike means in the previous regime, during the assessing officer, JAO manually processes and issues the refund under 143(1), whereas now it is automatically automated. Department is also uses a software wherein it ensures various checks and balances. It matches various data like your TIS, AAS, and tax audit report and other forms what you file, and then the return gets processed. And in some cases, if certain data is not matched, that system can throw a report that your return is a defective return, and then accordingly it will give you an intimation to you you need to correct your return, or otherwise it is treated as an invalid return. So currently the system software, department software process this refund and issues, means it checks for various parameters before issuing to the assessee. Means in case where you have outstanding demands, the return gets further into various other steps. If there is no outstanding demands in your case, then refund gets issued. In case of where you have outstanding demands. CPC gives an intimation under section 245(1), means asking you to provide your reply that why this demand cannot be adjusted against the outstanding. You have been given a time of 21 days to respond to that notice. Simultaneously, the same notice gets issued to the assessing officer also, that he need to submit information that whether this outstanding demand is a collectible demand or non-collectible demand because of various reasons, like there is a stay, or assessing has filed a stay application, or there is a high court order granting stay, or he has paid a 20% demand already and stay to be granted. Like that, various reasons he can mention, and mention that this is a non-collectible. So once the assessing submits the reply that he is disagreeing that the outstanding demand is incorrect, so then CPC waits for the JAWO's reply for another 21 days. That is 21 days for the SSC and 21 days for the assessing officer to respond. Once these 42 days are expired, then accordingly, if reply is received from JAWO that this is non-collectible, in that case, again, refund gets processed and issued. If uh, if there is no response from the JAWO, then in that case also it gets issued to the assessor. Where in case where there is a assessing officer provides the response that it is non-collectible, and in case of there are pending assessment in SSC's a particular case, then CPC issues a 245 2 notice asking response from the assessing officer that what is the likelihood of any raising demand in the upcoming assessment order. So CPC gives a time of 20 days plus 30 days. 20 days is to the faceless assessment unit to provide the response, and 30 days for the assessing JAWO, just jurisdictional assessing officer, to respond. So this 50 days it waits for under 245(2) as a response. If the assessing officer provides response before 50 days, then means assessing officer provides that it is refund can be released, then accordingly refund can be released. If assessing officer provides response that there is a likelihood of raising a demand in this case and refund to be withheld, then in that case refund will be withheld by the CPC. What happens in case of a refund adjustment? Refund adjustment, once the 245(1) assessing officer confirms that this outstanding demand need to be adjusted, the CPC generates a challan under section 400 against that assessment year where the outstanding demand is lying, and it gets adjusted against this refund. Wherever assessing has filed a stay application, but stay has been not decided, and SSC requests that means SSC's request is not considered, and 100% of the demand has been adjusted, SSC can file a means writ petition or some writ petition challenging the 100% adjustment, because there is no other mechanism available to get the refund whatever 100% adjusted against the outstanding. This we have already done. A refund in case of a rectification, whatever we have discussed in the scenarios that 143(1) and 143(3) order, both are applicable with the same procedure, 245(1) and 2. In case of a refund determined through rectification, refund means whatever, if you identify any mistake apparent in 143(1) order or 143(3) order, you can file a rectification application before the JAWO requesting to rectify the order and determine the refund eligible to you. Wherein there are two methods to determine a refund under rectification. One is ITBA through ITBA, and another process is called manual upload process. Wherever data is fully available in the system, the data can be corrected in the system on the rectification order can be passed through ITBA. Wherever data is not fully available, then he can pass a manual order wherein he can give the particulars that what are the details he wanted to correct. Then these details will go to CPC and CPC will do the computation and CPC sends back the order to the assessing officer. Once the order is received from the CPC, then this order will be sent to the range head for the approval. Once the range head approves, then this order gets released to CPC for issuing the refund. The same process will follow again CPC. Once the refund order is received, under 245(1), it will check for the outstanding demands, and under 245(2), again it will check for the pending assessments. Once the response is received in 245(1), they will again check the pending assessment status, and then the 245(2) notice gets triggered. So both the notices, once addressed through JAVO or through SSE, then only the refund gets processed, or refund gets withheld, or refund gets adjusted. Wherever manual refund, in exceptional circumstances, unlike earlier system, there is a refund voucher gets issued. Now refund check gets issued with the principal CCIT approval by following proper channel. All the means from SSE to assessing officer to range head, principal CIT, CIT, principal CIT, and CCIT up to principal CCIT, it gets approved the manual check process, and then the refund gets issued to the SSE through a physical check. This process only followed in exceptional circumstances, wherein a high court order or any other contingency that the refund need to be issued on an immediate basis. Then only this process will be followed. Otherwise, in the normal course, the refund gets issued through CPC only. It cannot be entertained under a manual refund check process. This is the crucial part in the entire presentation, how to expedite the current refunds. There are various options available to us. What is the right option we should select? Initially we can approach the assessing officer that the refund is determined under 143(1) or 143 or 154 or through appeal effect, but refund is not received by you till date. You can file a request letter with the JAVO requesting him since the refund is pending for so many days or months, and the refund to be expedited and issued to you. And you can approach and represent him to the refund to be issued to him at the earliest. On receipt of the request letter, JAVO can check that where it is pending, whether it is pending at the approved stage, the range head, or whether it is pending with CPC. We can check and we can provide you the necessary information that by when you can receive the refund. This is one process. Another one is e-Nivaran. E-Nivaran is the option available, grievance option available under the e-filing portal, wherein you can raise a grievance that there is a refund determined in your case, but the refund is not issued till date, and you wanted to expedite the refund. And e-Nivaran also, there are various stages, means various authorities you can address. Like you can address directly to the JAVO, you can address to the CPC for processing the refund, and you can address to the refund banker, means where it is pending. If you know that this is pending before the refund banker. Other than e-Nivaran, you have a right to information, RTA. Under RTA, you can file a application that you wanted to check the status of the refund, where it is pending with which officer it is pending, and why it is pending, and reason for the delay. You can ask under the RTA, and accordingly you can use that information to expedite the refund. Another one is basically the CP-gram. The CP-gram is a grievance administered through the PMO or central government public relation office, wherein this is determined, means basically various departments has been allocated this grievance portal, and accordingly this is administered and this is routed to a relevant officer to provide the update on the pending action against the any pending action against the grievance. CPGram, there is a separate portal. You need to register as a citizen, and then you can file the CPGram, selecting the concerned authority and with whom it is pending. You can select under that option, and then accordingly you can select that whether it is pending with which jurisdiction. Like you can select Delhi range, Karnataka region, like that. You can select the region. If you know that it is pending at CPC, you can select the CPC as a region, and then you can put your assessment here and you can put your grievance detail. It gets directly routed to CBDT, and then it gets routed to from CBDT to the concerned officer to why it is pending and why it cannot be expedited and processed. And in the CPGram, it is regularly tracked by up to the PMO office. So the redressal mechanism is a little faster and quick. So the department also gives a very considerable consideration to the CPGram grievances. Other than that, you can also represent to directly to CBDT. You know means the directory of the CBDT is available on Google or portal, income tax portal, wherein you can see various email IDs for grievance. Like you can also directly write to the CBDT chairman. Or this type of refunds generally comes to the taxpayer services. There is a member in CBDT for taxpayer services, member TPS we call them. You can write to him also your grievance that your refund is pending and it is not getting processed for so many months. Then accordingly it can be considered and expedited, and further you can also write a means grievance to, if it is not expedited, means it is not getting processed, you can means you can highlight your case to up to even the finance minister level also. They will also respond on your refunds or any other grievance you have. So if you see, means all these options are not possible, not getting your response, then you can still evaluate and go to a writ option, mentioning that means all the options you have explored, but you are not getting response, or you are not getting your legally eligible refund. Then you can challenge the court, and then you can expedite the through a court process your refund. This is the screenshot of how to submit this e-Nivaran grievance in the e-filing portal. Like I mentioned, you can select the concerned authority, like it is due to which authority you need to go to e-filing or assessing officer, CPC, TDS, or CPC, ITR, or DIT system, where you wanted to put your grievance. Accordingly, it directly goes to the concerned officer in the systems or CPC or assessing officer. Like as I mentioned, CPGram already. CPGrams is more effectively tracked by department, and department also gets follow up on action taken against this CPGram, pending CPGram. So the CPGram is one of the effective mechanism to follow up and get your refund. This is the CPGram portal. How it this is the pgportal.gov.in, wherein you need to register as a citizen and you can file your grievance, and you can track in the CPGram portal also where is it your grievance is exactly lying. Means you can know the officer name and designation and his email ID and his phone number. And you can taking that email ID also, you can write that you have filed a CPGram and it is not your grievance, and your grievance is still pending, and you can follow up directly also. And interest provisions, basically interest is means unlike the section 244A, it is there is no change in the section 244A. But if you see current system, refund gets determined, but refund is not gets issued on the same time or same date. But because of the process I explained in earlier, E245 1 42 days it need to wait, 245 2 again 50 days it need to wait. Refund, there is a gap between refund determination and the refund actually crediting to your bank account. So always you can file an application once the refund is received for the gap between refund order date and the refund actual receipt date, you are legally eligible for that interest under Section 244A for the period also. Eligible interest in case of interest in case where your refund is generated because of appeal effect and appeal effect is not issued within 3 months, you can eligible for the additional interest of 3%. There is a means in case of a DDT, I have seen there is no refund provision at all. So under the Act, means there is no refund provision. So officer generally denies the DDT refund. So you can file various case law supports that DDT refund to be issued to the SSC for past years, that you can claim that refund based on that case laws. And again, on the DTT refund also interest, whether you are eligible for interest or not, because system does not generate automatically this type of interest. So you need to legally mention here also there are various decision support that you are eligible for interest on DTT refund also. Similarly, wherever you are eligible for TDS and other things, even if it is not there in the return, as per the ITAT and High Court decision, if it is appearing in your 26 years, you are eligible for that amount. Officer should grant your entire eligible tax amount excess paid as a refund to you. Just I wanted to show some of the some other. This is the portal, CPgram portal, wherein how you can register.
Sir, the slide, end slide is only visible, sir.
Now it is visual.
Not it, sir.
Is it visual now?
No, it is yet to come, sir.
No, sir.
Sir, you have the shared screen rights, right?
Yeah, I'm sharing the presentation to the time.
Okay.
Is it visible now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So these are the some procedures I wanted to show to this, how department. This is currently they have introduced means know your refund status, wherein you can select in the e-filing portal and you can see the your concerned year refund where it is currently laid. Like 23, 24, I'm showing my refund status. So if you see, it is visible like this. Yeah, up to March 23, this is visible in NSDL portal. Post 23, this has been CPC has introduced this facility in e-filing portal itself, and you can see. And another one important thing is you need to update the LEI number for receiving refunds above 50 crores. LEI is a legal identification number. This number is required for 50 crores and above. And in case where a refund is generated, but a refund gets failed due to bank account linking with PAN or some other details of bank account closed. then you need to generate the refund reissue request. This status of refund shows that your refund got failed. Then accordingly, you need to go to this option and create your refund reissue request. And based on this refund, once this request is generated, then within 21 days or something, CPC again takes up this reissue request and gets processed to the refund. And grievance, as I mentioned to you, this is the grievance. And whatever you have raised grievances, you can check the current status of these grievances here, where it is pending and how it is pending. And you can check your pre-validated bank accounts to your profile. This is one option I wanted to show. Other than that, this is the CPgram portal I am showing you. And CPgram portal, you can register as a new citizen. You need to fill these basic details, and then you can register yourself for filing the grievance. Just I wanted to show things how the grievance will appear. In the portal, this is the index box wherein you can see that total how many grievances you have raised and how many grievances are pending and how many grievances are closed. And this is the various options available. And if you wanted to raise a grievance, large public grievance, and then you can select that. Then accordingly, it appears various departments against whom you wanted to file the grievance. I wanted to file grievance against Central Board of Direct Taxes. Then accordingly, it will again give you options how the under which option you wanted to select. I wanted to select direct taxes, and then it shows the options that what is the issue you are facing, whether you are facing with any faceless related issue, whether you have issue with IT returns, you have issue with tax policy matters, search and seizure related you have issues. Like if it is a refund related, I select issues with IT returns. Then I select whether what is the issue, whether there is a TDS mismatch, a refund matter, wrong demand, rectification, appeal effect. You have any grievance you have in the process of the income tax process, you can raise the grievance. Currently, I'm selecting the refund matter, wherein you can select, you can mention your PAN number, you can mention the assessment year, and you can mention which, as I mentioned, which region or you wanted to select that directly goes to that region. So my slides are visible, means my screen is visible.
Screen is visible, sir.
Yeah. So means basically which region you wanted to select, then accordingly it goes to the concerned authority for to process to consider the grievance and process. This is broadly about the CPgram, and there is one more option that more than CPgram, it is like PMO complaint. This is also gets generated from CPgram profile only. Instead of selecting the department CBDT, if you select directly PMO, and then it goes to the PMO office. Like each and every department, instead of that, if you select the PMO office and the options available below, then it goes directly to the PMO office, and that it gets followed up from PMO that the grievance expedition. And if any grievance is closed without addressing your letter, then you can file an appeal against that appeal against that grievance. So this is one of the effective grievance mechanism to expedite the refunds. Because there is a time limit given for CP that 30 days is the time limit. Generally, CP need to be closed as the internal department guidelines. This is broadly, I covered my slides. I believe I'm very quick in I covered. Request means if any questions or anything are there, then I can take it up.
Yeah, there are several questions, sir. I'll
Yeah.
read one by one.
Yeah, Prabhu.
Yeah. So for the first question is, can a resident or non-resident claim refund of past years? If yes, for how many years of refund can he claim?
Means if the refund return is filed or not filed, that drives the refund process. If it is not filed, you can file with a condemnation. Still, you can expedite the refund.
Then the next question is, can I get a refund in a joint account?
Yes, but only thing is that refund account, that bank account should be linked to your PAN. Then only you can get the refund. And whenever refund gets processed, it will see what is appearing as the first name in the bank account. If your first name in the joint account is not your name, then refund gets rejected, and you need to again apply for the refund reissue request.
Then there are problems in validation of bank accounts due to merger of banks. I think she is referring to more than the merger of banks rather than. So in
Yeah,
that case, how do you?
In case of a merger of bank account, you need to again submit your pre-validated bank account details, and accordingly, if pre-validated bank account details, because post-merger you will get a new IFSC code, or you will get the merged entity, the successing entity, the IFSC code. Then accordingly, if you mention that those details in your e-filing portal, I believe it gets validated, and then it gets paid to that account which is live post-merger.
Now the next question is a usual question amongst all the consultants. In case of amalgamation, how can the amalgamated company can get the refund for taxes withheld in the hands of amalgamating company?
Yeah, this is very practical question. Okay, means where the refund is means where the taxes are paid in the amalgamating entity. There is a provision means there can be a assessing officer can raise a request if suppose advance tax is paid in the entity of amalgamating entity, that advance tax is not consumed. It can be transferred by with the approval of the range head to the amalgamated entity. So means in that manner the advance tax gets transferred. In case of TDS, there is a manual process wherein by verifying the 26 AS of the amalgamating entity, the JAWO can manually give the credit in the system for the credit of the amalgamating entity's TDS. And another process is there. Another process is basically you can request your customers or vendors or bankers, whoever deducted this TDS in the name of amalgamating entity, you can request them to update the PAN details considering the merger order, and then accordingly the same can be once the TDS return gets updated, your 26 AS of amalgamated entity gets updated, then accordingly you will get the TDS credit reflected in the new entity, and your refund gets automatically computed.
The another question is from adjustments made for assessment year 2009-10 to 2011-12 returns generally is not visible on the income tax portal. Is there a way to retrieve this and then address these issues?
I believe means it is not there in system is different thing, but it will be available with the income tax department. Income tax is using that time ITD is the system they used. They use the ITD for the whole data to retrieve the data. whatever adjustment they can carry, you can go and request your jurisdictional assessing officer to provide the relevant assessment screenshots from ITD, and then accordingly you can establish your claims and other things for those years, and you can claim refund.
Whether the department provide a response to the RTI filed on behalf of the company.
Generally means RTI, in case of a company, department takes a stand that company is not an individual, and the information sought by you is relating to a company. They reject the they reject on this ground the RTA. So means whenever you are submitting your request, you put that authorization that you have taken authorization from the company, either through board resolution or through authorized power of attorney holder, that this information is sought for the company, and you are the authorized representative of the company seeking this information. In that case, the rejection can be challenged under RTA appeal also. Still, it is rejected. But I have seen cases where if you mention that you are a representative, authorized representative, and you have a proper power of attorney to seek this information, it gets entertained and they provide the information.
We are a AAF having a feeder fund at Mauritius level. Refund of a crore is pending due to non-availability of SNRR account. Now they've got the SNRR account. How do I apply for a refund?
Yeah, in case of a non-resident, it is a common issue because the SNRR number is required for a non-resident to process the refund, wherein since your refund got already means not processed once, it gets in the refund reissue request. So you need to go to refund reissue request, and again you need to generate the refund reissue request with using your DSCRs, and then it gets again sent back to CPC for issuing the refund.
National Faceless Appeal disallowed TDS credit for not appearing in 26 AS, although the corresponding income has been offered. Is there a resolution around this? While TDS credit is not appearing in 26 AS, but income has already been subjected to tax.
Generally, in case of TDS, means the department now goes by 26 AS. We need to identify the reason that why it is not reflecting. If you have a proper ground, means other person not paid the tax, but you have suffered the TDS, still there are means department circular that you are eligible for TDS credit. You can means file that department circular and claim that TDS to be granted to you. But otherwise, we need to understand the reason that why the 26 AS is not reflecting your TDS, so that we can accordingly approach the problem.
Sir, probably one incidental question, if I may ask, relating to this. See, there is always X amount of TDS credit that is appearing in 26 AS. But unfortunately, the refund, when the department is determining the refund, they are going with the amount that is appearing in ITBA or ITB system. So
Yeah.
there is always a gap between the Form 26 AS, the amount appearing there, and the ITBA system in many of the cases. So therefore, there is always a shortfall in the amount of TDS which I have claimed, and correspondingly what income taxes determining.
Yeah, but I have seen the cases means if you approach the assessing officer that what you suffered that TDS and it is reflecting in your 26 AS, he is legally bound to give credit to the extent what you is reflecting in your 26 AS, even though it is not available in ITBA. There is a provision to allow a manual credit in the system. The assessing officer very much put that the difference in the manual credit and grant you the eligible refund.
Then the next question is, CPC has adjusted a refund for assessment year 23-24 against a demand of assessment year 2009 and 10 on the basis of response received from jurisdictional assessing officer that the demand is outstanding against the intimation issued under 143(1). However, no such intimation has been received by the taxpayer, and the issue being 15-year-old and the document is also not available. How do approach this?
Basically, we need to go to the jurisdiction assessing officer and check the 2009-10 143(1) order passed. Even though it is not available with the SSC, if you on your request, Java is bound to give you that copy, and then accordingly you can verify that reason for this demand under 143(1). If it is not served on you, you can take a legal ground, and then accordingly you can file either means option of repetition or means other means elucidated time limit is not there, but you can with condonation of this many years, you can still try for it. Otherwise, writ option is the option that you can explore. Means it is without any opportunity. So, okay, whenever there is outstanding demand, it is gets reflected in your portal also that there are how many outstanding demands for each year, and you can if you expect that any refund is coming, you should have addressed those the outstanding demands first, so that the refund is not gets adjusted at all. If we don't address these outstanding demands, then assessing officer will give his report that these are collectible demands, because he is also having pressure from the department that these refunds need to be collected as per their action plan. Pending outstanding demands to be collected as per the central action plan, up to 70-80% demands we need to collect as per their action plan. So until unless we go and plan that these outstanding demands means how to uh, means either make it nil or otherwise how I can file a rectification or correct it means to reflect the true picture that we need to take care.
So the next question is, refund is said to be processed, but the same has not been received. On follow-up from the assessing officer, it was highlighted that bank account is not linked. Despite linking the bank account, the refund is not yet received so far.
This recently means there are various because department is also following various system related issues, facing system related issues. What happens, you have opted a particular bank account as a your refund account to be created in that bank account, but what happens generally in the return, we need to give all the bank account, all the available bank accounts of the company or individual or SSC. If you select your account as one to be given, but department system goes and picks the account 3 or 5, which is not linked or which is not fully complete details have been provided or incorrect details are provided or that account got closed, then in that case refund gets failed. So we need to see that means those cases, and again accordingly you need to generate a refund reissue request mentioning your validated bank account, so that the refund gets again reprocessed to issue to you.
Should we create a separate login for each client in CP Grams, or can we apply in the chart accountant's login itself?
Generally, it is done by a citizen. Means I believe as a chartered accountant, as a citizen, you can do for your client. You need not to open so many accounts for each client separately. But as a citizen, you can do and follow up under the CP Gram the pending actions from the department side.
So one more point is that given that manual refunds are not issued, what is the way out for obtaining refund of merged entity where bank account is closed?
In case of merged entity, one surviving entity will be always there. So even though merged bank account is closed, but I believe surviving some bank account you can still mention, or otherwise entity itself is, I believe, closed.
And then the next question is, Aadhaar card is not mandatory for non-residents. However, in case of certain non-residents, the refund is getting stuck because the Aadhaar is not linked to the PAN number.
I believe that this in those cases, I believe we need to give a representation. You can either you can raise a grievance to e-Nivaran that you are a non-resident and you does not require to hold a Aadhaar. and there is no requirement to linkage, then accordingly it can be still processed and issued to you.
Can a refund be credited to foreign bank account directly in case of a non-resident?
No. Refund to be means credited to that SNRR, that code is required. So you need to open a bank account specifically for this purpose, and SNRR number if you have, then that account can be eligible for refund for a non-resident.
So when the refunds are given in installments, should the interest be given first and then the issue refund of tax, or whether first refund of tax to be given and then interest thereon? When payment of taxes, the interest is first adjusted and then the taxes. But when the refund is issued, first the taxes are adjusted, then compared to the interest, because of which the total refund with regard to interest received by the assessee is less. Why there is a discrimination?
I believe means you can means legally you can fight for it, but these are the provisions. It is computed in that manner. The system. I believe one can always fight for that. You are legally eligible on that ground. You can fight to receive that. Means there are case laws available that in this pattern of adjustment also possible.
The return of individual is filed for a particular assessment year. The individual has passed away recently. Now the refund is pending to be received in the name of the deceased person. How do I get the refund?
There are two ways to possibly. Means one is I believe the bank account of the deceased is live. You can still mention those details and ask for issuing the refund. It gets processed. But if deceased bank account is closed and legal heir need to receive the refund, then in case of you need to update in the e-filing portal the legal heir details, and then you need to request the refund to be issued to the legal heir. You need to approach to the Java to in case of this type of legal heir related refund. He can support that he can issue the necessary changes he can do in the system through CTC. He can assist you to get this refund issued to you as a legal heir.
1 minute, sir. There are further questions in the chat box. Looking at 1 minute, sir. For unknown reasons, despite providing proper details of bank account of a society being added in the profile, the same is not getting linked, due to which the refund is unable to be processed.
I believe means linking is not getting means I believe getting linking is not done. You can still means I have not tried it, but you can approach to the assessing officer. He can feed in the details in the portal. In their PIN 2.0 portal is there, wherein assessing officer also can feed in the bank account details of the assessing. That you can try. I believe that can be you can receive through that channel also.
A refund of X crore is determined by the jurisdictional assessing officer while giving the appeal effect to the tribunal order, and the same was sent to CPC. ITBA system is showing refund issued, but the same is not received by the assessee. Indemnity is being filed with the jurisdictional assessing officer, and the jurisdictional assessing officer has raised tickets with the CPC, but nothing has progressed.
Yeah. As I mentioned, in CPC will follow systems like batch system or to consider or process pending issues. So if you wanted to expedite any issue means expeditiously, then in that time, in those cases, you need to raise certain grievances. That's what we discussed. If you wanted to highlight your pending issue through a grievance mechanism, whatever we have discussed, you can raise your grievance and you can see the result. Otherwise, I believe the system in its own time it will process. You need to wait for the system process time because it gets processed in a batches and batches manner. So you need to wait for the normal queue system.
So there are instances where in CP-gram grievances, the response given to the grievances are not appropriately given, and the issues are usually closed as a result. How do we approach this?
Unlike e-Nivaran, the CP-gram grievance, whatever issue is closed, they need to submit a report called issue closure report, wherein they need to submit the proof that how the issue gets closed. Suppose it's a refund to be issued and refund is issued, that is the reason they are closing the grievance. They need to submit that screenshot of the refund processed and issued. In that manner, it gets the grievance gets monitored by the higher authorities. I believe generally, if any particular fact pattern, we need to see that fact means what is the reason it is held up or why they are closing without giving a solution. And generally, I've seen situations means if everything is like 245.1, 245.2, everything is cleared by Java, there is no reason CPC to hold the refund. It gets issued. So if any particular issue is pending, you can always means through Java you can address that the 244.1 or 244.2. Then accordingly, I believe refund gets processed to CPC. CPC goes by system only. It won't either speak to you or it won't means give any reply to you. Means what is the required data or anything. Just means it has certain checks and balances and it has certain matches and mismatches. So it follows that pattern only and issues means it don't see anything else.
For returns filed pursuant to section 119 subsection 2B, the refunds are not being cleared despite 2 years have lapsed from filing the returns. Is there an approach to be adopted?
As I mentioned, is if this 119 to be has been approved by CBVT, then in that case means it is bound, it goes to the Java to process the return. You can approach the Java means why it is pending. You can understand the reason. If any system related issue, then they can raise the ticket and they can get it addressed in the system and then they can process. In that manner, you can see the result.
Okay. For assessment year 2019, 2019-20, self-assessment tax challan under 140B was erroneously generated as undisclosed foreign income and assets imposition of Black Money Act, hence not reflecting in 26 AS. Therefore, CPC is not giving a credit. On rectification application, JAO is unable to go for challan correction as there is no such option available to them in ITBA. Is there a way forward on this?
I believe means I have not come across this situation, but generally what I have seen is the challan correction is available with range head, not with Java. But Java puts his recommendation to the range head, and range head has a right to correct everything. Means even he can correct PAN number, he can correct the code, major head, minor head, he can correct the amount. Like that means he can correct all the parameters in the challan. I have not come across such situation means whether this type of black money paid challan can be corrected or not. I have not come across. So,
If the 87A rebate has not been granted in case of new regime on short-term capital gains, can a grievance in CP gram be submitted?
no, I believe CP gram grievance is basically means if anything is determined that you can ask through CP gram. if it is not determined, first we need to put our first course of action that you need to file a rectification before the JAVO to process that your request. If your request is not getting processed, that at that time you can see for the CP claim grievance.
Department is not granting interest on delayed release of refund, which was earlier available either under 244A subsection 1 or subsection 1A.
I believe means if you filed a rectification, you have received a short interest under section 244A and department does not entertain your request, you can wait for means 30 days or 60 days and you can file C8 appeals against the rectification not processed, or you can raise a CP grievance or e-Nivaran grievance that your request has been not entertained. But otherwise, you are legally eligible for receiving this interest.
Sir, at times what happens, the refund is determined at a point in time, say today, but the time the refund hits my bank account, there could be a significant delay in determining the refund and the date of receipt of such refund. I think they are referring to the later part, is what my understanding appears to be.
Generally, I will give you an example. My refund under 141 processed in May, but because of this process of 245 42 days and 245 to another 50 days, my refund is received in August. Okay, so the period between May to August, I have not received interest in my bank account because I received interest up to the order date, that is May. Now, whether I am eligible for interest from May to August, yes, you are legally eligible, and you need to file a rectification application for the additional interest what you are eligible. If JAVO considers your application and passes an order, you will receive again through CPC that interest under rectification 154.
Okay.
If you not receive, then again, that's what we discussed. Means you can file an appeal, or you can to expedite your rectification, you can file a grievance.
Okay. There is a question that ITR is not filed for assessment year 17-18. Is it possible to file the return now and avail the TDS credit so that the refund is received?
I believe means as we discussed, time limit has expired, so you cannot file return now. Only thing is you can with condonation you can try, but means you can try with condonation. That's what I think. And I believe as per the recent 1st October circular, the condonation has been sub-delegated to means based on the amount it is sub-delegated. Accordingly, you can file that.
A follow-up question on the amalgamation, sir. In case of amalgamation, there is a request from the assessing officer that a refund of amalgamating company will be kept on hold until the completion of the assessment proceedings of the amalgamated company. So is there a way we can expedite the refunds?
But means if I couldn't exactly follow the question.
Maybe possibly what I understand is there could be some refunds that are determined in the amalgamating company name for the past. Now that a company ceases to exist, can there be a provision where the jurisdiction licensing officer can hold the refund similar to 245 where he can hold the refund of the assessee? Likewise, can he hold the refund till the conclusion of the amalgamated entities assessment?
Means if he means expects that any means demand gets generated on the pending assessments, then he has a reason to withhold. Otherwise, there is no ground to withhold the refunds.
Yep. So despite filing Form 67 for FTC, the same is not being granted by the CPC. Is there a way to resolve this?
Again, this case is a rectification case. You can file a 150 for rectification. I believe now you can file 150 for rectification through e-filing portal also directly to CPC. If CPC gets again consideration, it can consider. If it is not getting considered at CPC level, you can file a manual rectification to JAWO to consider your credit. And since initially what happens is generally the rights are with CPC, so JAWO need to request these rights to process the rectification. JAWO in his internal system, he will raise a request and get the rights, and then he will process the rectification.
One last question. Employees of a sick company being deducted TDS by the employer, but the same were not remitted, due to which there is a shortfall in TDS credit.
Yeah,
How do you-
there is a CBDT circular that if in case of the TDS, it is deducted by the employer, but employees 26 years is not getting reflected the TDS, then in those cases, the TDS credit should not be denied. The assessing officer is bound to give credit in those cases.
Okay, that's all.
If any demand is raised, that demand need to be rectified in character.
That's all with the questions.
Thanks.
So, Prasanna, should I proceed with the vote of thanks then?
Yeah, questions out.
So, thank you, Gopi sir. On behalf of CTC and on behalf of all, I would like to thank you for taking up this session for us. I'm sure it was a very enlightening session, and we have gained much about it. And I'm sure we have got a lot of practical insights from it, which we were not able to process earlier. On behalf of CTC once again, and on behalf of all the participants, I'd like to thank you and thank you for taking this. Thank you for taking this up for us in a short span of time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sir. Thank you everyone for a patient.
Thank you.
Very good evening to all. Thanks.